This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Let me ask you guys something, because I think this is kind of odd. Okay, so the talk is in New England, all right? And listen, let's compartmentalize the word we love to use on this show. Let's separate church and state here, okay? Let's separate our feelings from all of this. Because as Dolphin fans, those of you that are Dolphin fans watching, you obviously don't want Belichick to break Shula's record, right? I get all of that, but let's just take that part of the equation out, okay? Let's take that bias out, all right? So, what has Belichick been known for throughout his career with his players? What is it that he does very well with his roster over the years? Not Walmart greeters.
I mean, no-name guys come in and kind of rebuild,
Okay,
I guess.
that's one. That's something that he's done. But what else does he do with his roster very well and maybe better than most? Does he not get off the gravy train on players before they fall off?
Yes.
Is he not notorious for that? So let me ask you something. They haven't made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. They don't make the playoffs again this year. They don't make the playoffs again next year. So all of a sudden, you haven't made the playoffs in 4 out of 5 years. You're really not having and producing winning seasons anymore. So if you're Robert Kraft, you know, the talk of, well, you're going to keep him around till he breaks Shula's record and he's 30 wins away from Shula. He's not going to have 3 10-win seasons coming up. So why, if you're Robert Kraft, why wouldn't you do what Bill Belichick has done his entire career to players? He gets off the gravy train before they fall off the cliff. And personally, I think Belichick's in the middle of falling completely off that cliff. Karma's a bitch, dude. What goes around comes around. And, you know, this conversation is really easy to be had. Chuck Noll, buddy, you won 4 titles. Your time came and went. We pushed your ass out. Tom Landry, your time came and went. We pushed your ass out. Don Shula, your time came and went. We pushed your ass out.
Sorry, Don.
Yeah, that was a bad mistake. That was a mistake there. Would have kept Shula around over everybody we've had until McDaniel, actually. So really, we think about it, you know, this isn't really a hard decision anymore. And Bill Belichick should not keep his job just because he won all those titles with the one quarterback. Remember, we've talked about this before. Okay, you're Joe Gibbs and you're in a valley, but you already have 3 titles with 3 different quarterbacks. You know what? Let's give Joe a little bit more time because he's done this before and over again. Belichick has never shown us he can win a playoff game without Tom Brady. Those are the facts. The facts are he's not getting to the Super Bowl. He's not getting to the AFC Championship game. And I don't even think he'll have a winning season this year. Again, this has nothing to do with Don Shula. This has to do with do unto others as they do unto you. And you've been notorious for that, right? Well, before Damian Woody fell off, you traded him. Before Lawyer Malloy fell off, you traded him. Before, what was the name of that offensive lineman he traded to the Bucks for a 3rd rounder, and the guy fell right off the fucking cliff right as he traded. The next year for the Bucks, he was a disaster. He's done this over and over and over again over the years. So listen, if he comes back and he kicks ass, then of course you got to keep him because he's done, you know, he's the GOAT and he's done what he's accomplished all this stuff. But lately, he doesn't look like it. His drafts don't look like it. He can't find another quarterback. And the one he found him in the 6th round, dude. It's not like you got him in the 1st or 2nd round that, You know, these are guys that are supposed to have success in your eyes because that's why you're picking them in the first or second rounds. Because you think they have the talent level's there. When you're picking them in the 6th, well, we're hoping he can be a backup. And he turns out to be the greatest quarterback of all time. So that shit only happens once. Just like 2003 Marlins, that will only happen once. That'll never happen again in the history of time. You'll never, ever again in South Florida have a team that was so young and a whole bunch of guys have career years that it takes you to a title, and all you need is a Pudge and a barely used Ugueth Rubina and, another veteran or two, very little. 97, that's different. That's a whole different ball. That's the norm when you bring a whole bunch of veterans together. So it's not normal to draft a guy in the 6th round and he becomes the greatest quarterback of all time. Bill got lucky with that one. And maybe that's what it proves, that was luck, and that helped him and catapult him to become the greatest coach of all time because he got the greatest quarterback of all time and he got to 6 titles. But outside of Brady, what you've done is not impressive. So if he does have the next 2 losing seasons and he doesn't get to the playoffs, there is no reason whatsoever to keep Bill Belichick around. That means his time is come and gone. And just like he moved on from other players, Bob Kraft should do the same.